Welcome to the inaugural, the first ever Fantasy Footballers Anonymous weekly meeting. All of us understand that we have a problem with fantasy football as we have been playing it for many years. This is our little weekly meeting to get your fix and keep you going with this fantasy thing and get it under control. We all know we use it and abuse it every season for every sport we can possibly think of. My name's Lewis. I am the commissioner of your league of the FFA, and here with my co-host today, Mike Nicolau.
Hi, everybody.
We will be touching on a few things, briefly. Please understand there will be some changes to the league. We will address those at the end of the show. Having that being said, we will also have an interview today with last year's champion, none other than Adam Minster, will join us. Second year ever in a two-quarterback league and already has a championship under his belt. Interesting to know. After that, we will also touch on the keepers, and Mikey will kind of handle that segment of the show. Please stay tuned. So, as I mentioned before, we have been doing this league for probably about 5 years now. I've been commissioner along with Chris Tomaselli as co-commissioner. 5 years deep, everybody's gotten a little feel for it. It's different than your standard league. It's 12 teams, 2 quarterbacks. It's one offensive position, but to not play 2 quarterbacks is just dumb. Let me first off start by congratulating last year's winner, none other than Adam Minster. Cavity searching myself, if he can come on stage here for us real quick. Adam, congratulations. I must ask, first of all, how did you do it?
How did I do it?
2 years in a 2-quarterback league. 3rd place finish followed by a 1st place finish.
2 years ago was a hard loss. I was in first almost all year, and then ended up in 3rd. You and Roy, I think, split the winnings there.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Came in second.
So, I was hungry this past year. I got lucky with Doug Martin. And I had Andrew Luck that I drafted pretty late, too. So, I had something. This also, I found this jammed up my ass.
There it is.
Lucky horseshoe.
I don't know how to react to this, ladies and gentlemen. He just pulled a horseshoe out of his ass. Well, at least now we know that it's no longer in his ass, so the season will be fair.
I'll pass it to somebody else if they want it,
Yeah. And aside from our first place champion, we also have last place with us today to chat a little bit about it. I'd like to bring my brother Andy Chikimia onto the show.
How's it going, everybody?
Hey, Andy.
Andy, you inherited a team last year.
I did.
We had a player. He had to back out. I had to call my brother last minute. He was able to help us out. But the consequence of that was, of course, having a auto-drafted team. How was that, playing with an auto-drafted team?
I did not have a lot of strengths on my team. As you guys know, it's a quarterback-heavy league. Mm-hmm. I had Flacco, and that's about it. I didn't really have a second quarterback to put in, so I think my second best player was Sidney Rice, maybe.
Okay. That was one player that I do believe we thought you might be your only keeper.
Right.
My question to you has to be, what do you plan on doing different this year? That
I'm
you'll
excited
finally
this
be
year.
a live draft.
Now that I actually get to do an actual draft, my own draft, I get first pick, so I think opportunity is in my favor.
Okay.
And
I like
I'm
it.
definitely going to take advantage of it.
Well, good luck to you. Not all that much luck. Second place. So, either way, we will continue the show after this brief announcement. And welcome back. Please let me just start by shouting out to Funny Guys Production and Homewood Fingerboards, both sponsors of this show here that make everything possible for us. This next part of the show, we will be leading into the keepers here with our resident guru, Mike Nicolau. Some teams have options, some teams don't. As you can see behind us on the board, some keepers are already set. Mikey, baby, do your thing.
Thank you, Lou. All right. Now, as we get set for this year's draft, which is in approximately 24 hours, the most exciting part about a keeper league is that your team gets to have some identity. And as Lou alluded to a little bit earlier, a couple of teams have a lot of great options, a couple of teams kind of struggling. You can see right here, I have one keeper, Shane Vereen, in the 13th round. That's all I've got going into this year, so you're going to see why some people are at a serious advantage going into the 2013 season. A few names worth mentioning. Coon on the cob here, Roy, has Vincent Jackson as an available keeper in the 5th round. That's pretty solid value. He's going to be a wide receiver 1 this year. I don't think you can go wrong with that pick there. I'm third. Don't worry about me. I just covered my terrible self. I didn't do so well last year either. Chronic Blunt is a team that's got some options. David Wilson would be available in the 8th round for him. That's a great keeper there. He's a guy that's going off the boards in the 3rd or 4th round in most leagues. A lot of value there. Even better for him than that is Russell Wilson, who was picked up off the waiver wire. He gets to keep him in the 13th round. In a 2-quarterback league, that's a no-brainer. Right after him in the draft, another guy fortunate enough to get a solid QB off waivers, and that's Chronic Blunt Salivating Mutts getting Colin Kaepernick as the 13th round keeper. That's a guy you could arguably stick in as your QB1. You're getting him in one of the last rounds of the draft. Great value. Midwest, again, great value, but we're switching gears to running back. He picked up Alfred Morris late. He's going to get him as a 13th round keeper this year. Arguably an RB1, off to a great start, just like the 2 guys drafting in front of him. His other keeper option, Mike Williams, maybe not bad. He'd be able to keep him in the 9th round. I'm thinking he'd probably lean that way as a wide receiver 2 late in the draft. You can bolster up a lot of your other power positions earlier on. Stark Voltage, probably going to keep A.J. Green, I would think. I think he should. It would be a 2nd round pick, but he's going off the board in the 2nd round in most leagues. He should be performing at a high level, near elite, arguably as good as Calvin Johnson. Moving right along to our commissioner, Lou. As you can see, his keepers are up here already. Pierre Garçon in the 6th. If he stays healthy, that's great value too. Randall Cobb in the 9th. That's a no-brainer. He's a guy going off the board pretty darn early. That's a wide receiver 1 in any league, on any team. So good job, Lou. You should be off to a good start. In my opinion, the best value of anybody in this league, C.J. Spiller for the BP Spillers. He's going to get to keep him in the 6th round. That's just an unfair advantage. God bless you. Danny Amendola, again, picked up off waivers. He'll go in the 13th round. You've got a wide receiver 2 late. You've got an RB1 in the 6th. You're going to be off to a great start, too. Tomo, the aforementioned co-commissioner, again, not terrible options for him. They're a little earlier than he'd probably like to see. But Reggie Bush in the 4th round, I think makes a lot of sense. He's an easy RB2 with RB1 potential. 4th round value, that's a great choice there. And following that right up is Robert Griffin III in the 5th round. Arguably on that cusp of quarterback 1, but in the 5th round in a 2 QB league, kind of a no-brainer too. And rounding things up with the last pick is our champion, who you saw earlier, Mr. Adam Minster. He actually has a couple options, and he made those before we started filming here today. And as you can see, the muscle hamster, Doug Martin, is being kept. He's going off the boards as the 4th or 5th pick in standard leagues. Might be later in the 1st round in most leagues. 2nd round value, 13th overall. You can't go wrong. And in the 4th round, Andrew Luck, a lot of people expect him to have a better year this year, maybe cut down on the interceptions. That football IQ should continue to increase. So to have your QB2 in the 4th round and a guy who could very easily be in the top 10 by the end of the year, he once again is in great shape to possibly go back-to-back on his championship season. Obviously, you all have the choice. You still have 24 hours and change to make these decisions. We think that what we just went over here is relatively accurate for who's going to do what. We didn't touch on everybody, though. So spend your Saturday evening sitting at home in front of your computer, diligently crunching statistics like we're going to not be doing, and maybe you'll have a chance at beating one of the 3 of us.
And welcome back. I hope you've enjoyed the show thus far. As was promised before and was mentioned before, there are some changes to the league this year. Please note, 3 major changes. Among those 3 changes, number 1 being there are no acquisition fees. 0. None. $50 buy-in, that is all we have. Aside from that, we have added a bench spot this year, making it 16 instead of 15 rounds for this coming up draft. And finally, no more compound scoring when it comes to the bonuses. You won't get the 40 and the 50, it's either or. So something pleased to note. I know that created for some discussion last year with what we were doing.
It certainly did, that and the extra draft spot here for this year, the extra bench position. I think people are going to be very happy with that, so I look forward to the draft here this year.
Good.
That about wraps it up here today. For Louis Jachemia, I'm Mike Nicolau. I would like to give a special thanks to our guests for coming on to the show today here. Andy Chikimia for joining us here today. There he is, and there he goes. Also would like to thank Adam Minster, our reigning champion, for joining us here today. Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
And we look forward to seeing you guys at the draft. Many more weeks of this show yet to come, so stick around and stay tuned.
Yeah, and a final thank you to our sponsors of this show, brought to you by Funny Guys Production Company. If you want a legit funny production company behind you with a passionate owner, find Justin Rodriguez and the Funny Guys Production. Also, Homewood Fingerboards, the second best thing to do by yourself aside from the Fleshlight. And finally, I'd like to thank Workout Music for letting us use their music for this show.
And we will see you all tomorrow at the draft.